For the end, I just wanted to mention the film locations where they did all the footage, because it's hardly ever mentioned. I haven't seen it in any other YouTube video, so I wanted to mention it.
See the village of Highbury, sir.
Okay, so the village of Highbury consists of Hartfield, Emma's home, we have Donwell, Mr. Knightley's home, Mr. Martin's home, Miss Goddard's school, where Harriet is at. We have Mr. Weston's estate, Elton's chapel, and Mrs. Spade's cottage, as well as Fort's, the fabric shop, and Box Hill, where they go for a picnic. That's where the locations are situated at in England. We will start with Emma's home. Firle Place is in Sussex.
A property that hadn't been used too much before. What was amazing about Firle Place is that it is a Tudor house with sort of a Georgian Baroque, and since that period they haven't really changed the house radically. There's no Victorian additions. It's pretty much preserved as it was, in the late 18th century.
The Lord and Lady of the house were just so excited by the whole project, and really let us kind of do whatever we wanted. So we just went for it.
And we've been trying to get a major film for a long time.
Each room had its own colour palette going on, through to the Great Hall, which is this beautiful pink, and then into the blue stairwell, which is a Wedgwood blue, through to the yellow drawing room, and then into her music room, which is a kind of lilac. So you've got the dining room that was all pinks and greens, and we had this mad bespoke wallpaper made hand blocked in America, which took 10 weeks to print. They're Regency patterned, but you can choose your colours. So they kept phoning saying, you sure these are your colours? They're quite out there. And I'm like, no, we're going with them. I mean, if you look at the crockery and everything they have this really bold colour palette, these really bright turquoises, or the John Soame yellows, or the Robert Adam pinks and purples, that I think everyone thinks of period dramas as being quite muted, and a lot of pales and browns and drab colours, but actually they were really bold with their colours. So you've just got this incredible path that follows you through all the colours and looking from one room to another.
Wilton House is close to Salisbury. We have this theory that they also based the houses and how they filmed them on existing templates or crockeries. They're showing the house at the beginning, surely intended for us, the viewer, to see how lavish he lives, but also just to see the house.
He's the highest status person in the village because he's got the biggest pile of bricks. Yeah, he's a likeable chap.
For some reason they chose the same house for Mr. Darcy as for Mr. Knightley. I don't know if this was intentional or not. I imagine the film locations in England for old houses is limited, but it also could have been on purpose, because I think they also recreated this this scene.
A Mrs. Bennet, a Miss Bennet, a Miss Bennet, and a Miss Bennet.
The Bennet sisters sitting down, and then Emma and Harriet sitting down. Like, I don't know, this just felt like this was a parallelism chosen by the director. And then the statue scene, Emma and Elizabeth both being in their love interest's house, watching statues. And then also in the end, Mr. Knightley taking Emma's hand and Mr. Darcy taking Elizabeth's hand.
Holding hands was a big deal.
It just seems like they paid a lot of homage to Pride and Prejudice. And maybe in additional, they also chose the house because of this Palladio bridge. Palladio was a Venetian architect, and he was really important and revolutionized European architecture, even if the viewer is not aware that the architecture is inspired by the Palladio. He will still see that there is a difference in wealth and more pomponous compared to Emma's or all the other houses. To find a church like this one here, in this style, was quite tricky, and that it was really hard because almost none were preserved, but they were modeled and turned into Victorian style churches, so much so that the set designer said she started to hate the Victorian era. Thank God they found this one. It's such a lovely little church. I personally like the green a lot. This here is just the outside of it, like it's really small, like I wouldn't expect that. Highbury village scene was shot in Lower Slaughter.
Pray, let's go in here. That I may prove myself to be a true citizen of Highbury, I must buy something at Forks.
Again, it seems like they took a lot of time just to do the research so that they could base the location on a very accurate style and interior design. This one here, again, a template by Ackerman's Respiratory of the Arts, and yeah, the building of course already existed, but they said that I had to change quite a bit. Kingston Magpie's house in Oxfordshire. The entrance hall and the drawing room of this house were also featured in season 5 and 6 of Downton Abbey. It was probably not possible to change the rooms, but maybe they decided to base this room on the template. So it was like a conscious decision of the filmmaker to use this frame and to use those colors. So in that sense, it's maybe based on the template. Davinci House is close to Bristol. Okay, first, this house was chosen as Mr. Weston's home, as well as Miss Bates' home. Mr. Weston's home was filmed in the Georgian part of the house, and they showed it like this to show that he comes from new money, that he doesn't has as much money as Emma, and that he's not as cultured because she is like a really colorful home, and then his is like darker brownish colors you wouldn't normally choose if you were rich. Then Miss Bates' home is actually a room in the house, and it's a bedroom, but they chose it as her home. It is in a Elizabethan time, which is before Georgian time, which also made sense to me because Miss Bates is poorer, so she wouldn't have the money and the means to upgrade her home to a Georgian style home. So I thought this was like really well chosen. The house is also famous because Poldark was filmed there, and a lot of other series.
Writing all morning.
It's tricky because like the outside is in Lower Slaughter, like Crown Inn.
By candlelight, it'll be as clean as Randall.
Frank and Emma are dancing in front of it. We haven't talked much about his clothes, but this outfit reminded me of those two templates. And same goes for Emma. But then the inside is a different building. It's Ramster Hall.
Miss Woodhouse, this is meeting quite in fairyland.
And then you'll get over. Yeah. Great.
Great.
Cool.
1, 2, 3, 40, 20, 30.
I've read so many articles on the location of Emma as well, and Mr. Cole's house was just never mentioned. In the first instant, Brotham Park made me think of Mr. Bingley's house from 2005, even though now they do not look that similar, but when I didn't have Mr. Bingley's house present, Brotham Park really made me think of Bingley's home. We see some bits of the inside in the film.
And have you heard the choicest piece of gossip?
Okay, for the end, I just wanted to mention those 3 YouTubers whose videos I've watched. If you want to check it out, she does like an in-depth analysis on everything Emma wears. And then I also watched Karolina's video, which really helped me, and Lena Norms. The beginning of the 19th century and Emma, written by a woman, and the clothes that define the era, which are based on male clothes, made it in a way a feminist era.